Hi all. Right, I'm just in the process of putting together the first part of the 20th. Um, and, well, you'll see it if you want to watch it. Like I say, first part's the first three phases. The next part's all about these new rules that we got answer from John Butterfield and Martin got answers to. There's still a couple of things I'm not quite happy after cutting it. I'm going to put a couple of notes on the YouTube video at the beginning. All I can say is when I'm talking about Ally Supply being traceable to that town, just imagine that it is. It kind of goes up and around. Um, when I'm, when I'm discussing like Ally Supply can't be traced. Its only route was around here, but at the moment it can't be traced. But and then once it got to here, it could be traced. But if it got right, the unit got right along here, it was blocking its path again. It's just I can't really show you the exact situation, but I'm not going to try and redo that again. I've done it enough. But one last thing as well, I'm sorry to be going on about this into the first part of the next part, part two. But I don't know why I didn't look at the rule book, but this last one about where John Butterfield had said, and it looked like he was not choosing a primary arrow, he was instead going along a secondary arrow to end up being closer to his army objective. And I thought, right, well, we obviously didn't think about that at the time, and I thought, well, wait just now, let me look at the rules. The rules say, movement method 10 says, move if able to expend the unit's full movement allowance, moving in direction indicated by movement arrows. And then the first bullet is, follow the direction indicated by the primary movement arrow in each hex if possible. And then it goes on to say, if a move in the primary direction would expend all the movement, blah, blah, blah. If it would stop it and they've got to move in the secondary direction, then move in that. But the way, I know I wasn't able to show the actual diagram, but the way it is on the picture that Martin's got, he's trying to follow the primary arrows, and John just straight up goes, he just takes a secondary arrow where the primary arrow is a possible movement. So I think, going by the rules, I think John's got that wrong. Unless I'm picking it up wrong, then he should stay with the primary movement arrows, and that's what Martin has done in his movement. Whereas John's just ignored the primary arrow, which he could have taken and not. He wouldn't have been expending his full movement before he had used it all, because that's the movement method that Martin eventually makes. He goes 1, 2. If he follows all primary arrows, he has to take a secondary arrow to avoid the roadblock that was there. But that's the reason. Now John just takes a primary arrow and he just takes a secondary arrow, not even following the primary arrow that Martin takes. I kind of feel like that must be wrong, because the way it's worded, if you can take a primary arrow, that's what you do. So I'm going to add a wee bit to the beginning of the video regarding that. I'm not going to harp on about it much more. I'm guessing Martin might come back and say something about that one, because that was within his playthrough. So okay, let's just leave what we've got just now and move on, because it's kind of been dragging me down, all that, putting all that together, and I'd like to get on with the playthrough. So, and we've got a couple of fixes to make now as well. Okay, the first one that I had adjusted was this one that Martin talked about, and we've since found out that this unit can't do that. What he was in Spa, and by the way, I forgot to put a detachment on there. I remember that, so I'll catch that as well. He was in Spa, and he was trying to move, with movement method 2, move to a hex both closer to unit's army objective and adjacent to ally BP hex. So I looked at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, getting adjacent. That's the only hex he could reach. When he reached there, he was breaking a restriction. It must have been supply. Supply must have been traceable to this town when it reached there. So I was kind of doing it right, because John Butterfield's come back and said that you need to move the full move. It needs to move adjacent to an allied VP hex to complete that move. it can't stop short. So, but then Martin considered that he thought that the unit could move further. Well, we've since found out that that wasn't the case, and what we ended up deciding was the unit could get to here, and supply was still not traceable at that time, so that was fine. Well, we know that that can't happen now. So now the unit ended up here. Now it must have been with movement arrows, my guess is. So all I'm going to do is put them up there. My guess is he's went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then he's extended it 2 more. Yeah, that looks like the case. Okay, so I'm not going to muck about with that anymore. That unit's going to go in there. So that then would been able for us to have deployed this unit in here stacked with this other unit. But hold on, don't jump at your screen and say, but Grant, they can't go there. I know that. But they want to come in together, and there was now a space. But because I had to rewind this move, and we don't have this town anymore, I completely forgot about that and deployed all these units. And John Brown picked up that fact, and that is the case. So these are now gonna have to deploy somewhere else. So I'm gonna take them all away. Or am I? Is there any situation? The situation hasn't changed, I don't think, has it? Wait a minute. I better just make sure that nothing else has moved. No, because that was the last. Was it the last move of the turn? Right. I better just double check nothing else happened after we deployed them. Yeah, so nothing else happened. The only thing that happened, they did have another impulse. They activated these guys. They made the attack, didn't they? They did not wipe out one of the last unit that was up here. And then we had the impulse with the 12 core, which drew out, because we made an attack, it drew out the last card of the German drop pile. Unfortunately, it was the first SS, or that would have caused trouble, because that would have been another impulse moving the first SS. So that was quite fortunate that's happened. So we can just go back. Nothing else has moved up here in this area. The only thing, the only thing that was moved a little bit is along there. But we're not going to be. They're going to be deployed in here somewhere. In fact, John Brown even suggests where he thinks they should go. So I'm going to take these off the board and then just deploy them freshly. With considering this as an allied town, of course. So I'll have a look. I'm going to have a quick peek at where the hexes John said first, so it might make it easier for me. Okay, well, we might as well make use of John's suggestion of where they should go and see if we agree with it anyway. So he's saying that the first hex should be 314, 0314. And then we've got 0213 and 0413. He's not sure which order they should be in. Right, so let me have a look and make sure all is good. Yeah, I definitely believe he's got this one spot on right enough. So it needs to be on a supply road. It needs to be within 3 hexes of a unit in the same army, which it is. And remember, none of their core are on the board yet, so we don't need to consider that. At least 3 hexes away from a non-isolated allied unit, at least 3 hexes away from an allied town, and not in a map edge hex. So this is now 3 away still from this. 1, 2, 3, and it's 3 away from this allied town. 1, 2, 3. It's within 3 of a unit in the same army. And if there's more than one, which there would be other options, then first priority is closest to a unit in the same core, but we've not got that yet. Is it closest to a unit in the same core, then closest to the current objective for the unit's army. And the army objective's there, so it wants to be as far west as possible, but that's as far as we can go. We've already tried to deploy in here. And because of that town and that unit, we can't do that. So yeah, you're spot on there, John. Well done. Unit number 1 would drop in there of the second SS, and then units 2 and 3 would then follow suit and join on. So yeah, the 2 hexes will be the next in line, won't they? Because they've got to be within 3 of these guys now. Well, in fact, they've got to be as close to them as they can, so they're going to be adjacent, and both the hexes are, close to their army objective. So yes, indeed, what order are they going to go in? Yeah, no wonder you couldn't decide which one, John. I don't think I can find a tiebreaker between the two, because they're both valid hexes, and they're both as close to the units in the same core. And they're both the same distance away from the army objective. Now, you could step in here and say, well, even if you said west, even if you say west, they're both exactly the same west, but that doesn't really say that anywhere. That's only when you're talking about priorities for moving units and that. So I think it's going to come down to last resort tiebreakers, which is the thing that came about in the errata. And that says if a choice of hex remains after applying all tiebreakers, choose the lowest numbered hex. So I think we come down to that. I can't see anything else tiebreak. Like I say, it just tiebreaks closest to a unit in the same core, and then closest to the army objective. So what did I say? Was it lowest numbered hex? So it's going to be this one, isn't it? 0213. So I think we're going to tie break down to that one, but by all means, if any of you guys think there is something I'm missing with that, let me know. We could probably alter it again. And then, of course, there can only 3 of them can go in there. So, and John's right enough that the last hex would be there. So, thanks for that, John. Made that nice and easy for me. Okay, well, I think we've got them right now. Like I say, that tiebreaker thing. Well, all it can mean is they could be, they've either got to be in there or there. So, but I think it's got to come down to that. So we'll move that unit back. We've deployed these units properly now, and I think now can we get on with the game? Okay, I just realised I think things look even worse up here now, don't they? The second SS units have moved further north now. Wedges and bother now, definitely, and we've got very little to go and support it with, haven't we? And we didn't draw the 7th Corps card. Oh dear. Okay, and it's a German impulse, so what we don't want to see is 1st SS, 2nd SS, or 6 Panzer Army cards. Because although I don't think they can't run across the river, so, but they could probably close in on that which is the half of the city. And there's only that one unit there. Right, okay, right. Let's play some, Grant. Okay, so it's a German impulse. We weren't able to stop it. We didn't have air power. We weren't able to do that. So let's move the camera around. Okay, here goes. German impulse. It's a 47th division card. Oh, 2 division cards. That's good then. That should give us a bit of breathing space. Oh, I hope. So no primary cards. They're both command level of 1. This is the lowest card. So this is going to be the command card, and this is going to be the support card. There is no event on the support card, so we're going to go straight to the command card, and we're going to activate the 2nd Panzer and the Lehr divisions. And remember, we're on to fuel now, but they have a fuel marker today, so both these would have been checking for fuel. Although it doesn't look like any of them were affected on the 20th, but they get to ignore all fuel issues this whole day. So yeah, we're going to activate the 2nd Panzer and the Lehr division, and just to take note, it's combat engineers as the combat tactic on the support card. So we'll go and have a look, see what's happening. Okay, so the 3 Lehr units are here on different hexes. Second Panzer units are all in different X's too. One's here, one's in the Houghton, and the other one, which is reduced, is just outside Trois Pommes here. So they're going to activate, and yes, we do have a roadblock adjacent to this one. So that's going to get removed, isn't it? Remove Allied roadblock markers adjacent to active German units. Yeah, so that's coming away. Just like that. It's not like the old German solo where you have to roll a dice and that. No, they don't have to do that. Okay, so that's that. And the army objective marker is, yeah, it's just on the camera there. It's in Dinan. We still not proximate to it or within 2, so it still stays where it is. So now we're going to look. So we've got 6 units to try and move. So I'll go and have a look, see what I come up with. Okay, so movement method 2, move to a hex both closer to units, army objective and adjacent to allied VP hex. Going in ascending order, the second Panzer unit here is first. Havelange is just here, so basically you could just move there. He's going to be 1 hex closer to his army objective and adjacent to Havelange. He could come down to Rochefort. That's going to be off the camera, isn't it? Just zoom out a little bit. You could also, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, come down to here. If he was here, 1, 2, 3, 4 away. If he was here, 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So they'd both be the same, but he can actually reach this hex, which is going to be 3 away. I don't think he chooses. You know, if it was a higher hold victory point, that is 2 as well. That doesn't come into it. I don't see anything written to say that he would. You know, if for instance this was 5 victory points, that was only 2. Would there be a priority? But I don't see that within. I mean, it's where you're just looking tiebreakers, and the tiebreakers are close to the army objective marker, closest to the army objective marker. Yeah. So and then 1, 2. I just remember Dinan. So we can't get to Dinan. 1, 2. Yeah, you can't quite. 1, 2. It's 3 to move in here, and we've got these units here as well. But we need to watch, because once he does move into there, he's going to be able to just stroll into Dinan as well. Oh dear. Okay. So I think this guy is going to move to this hex here, which is only going to be 3 away from his army objective and adjacent to a VP hex. Oh, you know what? I forgot that detachment in Spa. I'm just chucking it up there. It's probably off camera, but that's Spa, isn't it? Yeah, right. Yeah, so I don't think he can do anything else funky, and I don't think he's breaking any restrictions. But 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves the detachment there. I've got some markers now. Yeah, because like I say, if he was there, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 away. Yeah, that's closer to his army objective. So that's that one. Now, what numbers have we got next? We've got 4, 6, 10, and then 26. So this guy's going to move as well. Okay, yeah. So unit 4. Which is one of the lower units. Now, he could move there, that's, at the moment he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. That would make him 5 away from his army objective. That, he could get into there as well, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away as well. But this one, he can get into this hex and it's 1, 2, 3, 4 away. And it's an empty hex, so... yeah, I can't see any clever way of doing it to gather any more detachments. So 1, 2, well, in actual fact, yeah, he's going to have to, I suppose he could go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He could do that, I suppose. It's not any different. He's not gaining any more. He'll keep a detachment here though. Right, just double check. Nothing's been breached there, I don't think. I don't think there's any real issue here, really. So I think we could just move straight on to unit number 6. He's next in line. And he can get closer too. And remember, we're going to have the, what is it again? 9.24 tactical adjustments. So although he could reach this hex, which would be closer to his objective than what this hex would, he's going to adjust into this hex if he can reach there, because it's an empty hex. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually get here or here. Oh, and you know what? That's going to surround. Mind you, surround's not part of the tiebreakers. But if it was between this hex or this hex, they're both 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. This one's slightly more west. So it does indeed look like he would go 1, 2, 3, and then 4 into there. Yeah, because only 2 hexes we want to go are the 2 empty hexes that you can reach, and that one's just slightly more west, same distance for his army objective. And he started there, he was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away, and now he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. Yeah, okay, good. And then Unit 10's probably going to fill this space here, isn't he? It looks kind of like that's how it's going to go. Now he actually left a detachment there too. So yeah, Unit 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he can't reach anywhere else. He's wanting to be adjacent to this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only thing I'm moving down to Rochford, but that hex is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B1. That's 6 away. No, I'm pretty sure this is it. It's 1, 2, and then 3, 4 into there. Yeah, this kind of look. Oh, that's a 3. Oh yeah, no, sorry, my bad. We've got the second Panzer. Right, okay. Where was he? He was there, wasn't he? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, sorry, I've got the second Panzer. Is that just off camera? Sorry. You try to do this and get it right. I want it to be as zoomed in for you as possible as well, because I know when I look back in the videos, it's quite nice when you can see things up close. Although sometimes you do need to see what's round about, but you certainly need to see what's round about when you're pointing it off camera, Grant. Okay, but he's in Houghton, so there could certainly be issues with him making this move. He was the one that possibly couldn't make the move. Okay, in actual fact, this unit can't move close, adjacent to a VP hex anyway. There's not a road from there to there, so it'd be 3 movement in there, or 4 or 5. You can't get adjacent to that. Well, he could get adjacent to Ufe though. 1, 2, I think 3, 4 into there, but that's not going to be closer to his army objective, I don't think. 9. No, it's nowhere near closer. And like I say, I've not checked. I'm not sure though, because if he was to move, then supply's not traceable at Houghton because it's surrounded with these 2 German units. So yeah, he probably could. But I don't think he can't reach Rochford either. Zoom out a little bit more, Grant. 1, yeah, because of these units in Marche, he can't get along to there. So I don't think he can move with that movement method anyway. So then we know that this unit can move with that movement method, so he's going to make that move that I just done. Pretty sure that's good. So then we've got one last, right, let's see if Unit 26 can, is he on camera? Just, he's here, so he might be able to reach, if it, I'll have a look, hang on. Okay, none of the units can move with any of the, we've moved past the infantry moves. So I'm on to 10 to 13, we've only got the 2 units left. So Unit 8 is we're going to look at it first. We've got unit selector number 8 and selector number 26 to look at. So he's in Houghton, so this is going to be a bit restrictive. He can't move his arrows is down that way, that would stop him. He can move closer to his army objective though, and it's just, yeah, it's just on the map, yeah. Just on the camera, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So he's 7 away at the moment. So he could straight up just go into there and then he's 6 away. And Houghton's okay, because Allied supply cannot be traced if he just moves there. I believe. Yeah, it would be fine. Now, but I think he's going to get to move to here. I think he's okay because he can go 1, 2. Now, he's wanting to move adjacent to an allied unit if he can gain a 3-to-1 advantage. And that's including other active units that haven't moved yet, any adjacent units, any reserve units. There's no active reserve units, there's no reserve units at all. But there's a strength of 6 here, so we need a pretty strong force to be able to get a 3-to-1 advantage. So it's not that we need to move adjacent to him. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, now if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 away from his army objective, Allied supply is now traceable to the town. It can go 1, 2 into there and then away. So we can't go that far, but I think we can go into there, because Allied supply can't be traced to that town now when he's there. So I think that's going to be his hex. So just have a look at that again. So he could have went there, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 away, 2. So they're both 6 away, but this is westernmost. So I think that's the hex he would move. And like I say, if he could have got the 3-to-1 advantage on this allied unit, he would have stayed in here. But he can't get this, so he goes at the tiebreaker. The tiebreaker's closest to his army objective, and then whatever the compass direction is on the army objective. So I think he's going to go there. We're going to leave detachment in Houghton. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so last unit is this unit, which is selector number 26. Second Panzer number 2 unit. So I'm pretty sure you can bash on his arrows. Now his primary arrow goes back the way a little bit, but oh, right, hang on, that feels kind of wrong. It's got a primary arrow going into there, and then the next primary arrow is going up here. That's totally taking him off course, isn't it? See, the thing is, this hex here suggests that it's got a 6 going that way, but there's no number in this hex. If he's in that hex, his primary arrow is into this hex, and then the primary arrow for there is into this hex, which then looks like he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here. That feels odd, doesn't it? It's totally going away from his buddies. Kind of makes me feel there maybe should have been a 6 attached to one of these arrows. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, is that 6 included there? I think it is. I didn't even see that. Yeah, it's a 6 with a bridge. Wow. Okay. Right, so his primary arrow would be into here still, but then he would go secondary arrow into here. This makes more sense. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and there you go, Vermont, or Verbamont, if that's how it's pronounced. And just going back to the arrows thing, and sorry, I know you're all cringing. Oh, get on with the game, Grant. I don't believe that you could ever find two different hexes if you're following the correct procedure with the arrows, because you follow the primary arrow, and if you can keep following primary arrows and spend your full 5 movement, you're good. If you can't, if you get stopped short with that, you then follow secondary arrows and then go back to the primary arrows if you can. So I don't believe you can ever end up with a tie-break choice of hexes. I could be just thinking about that wrong, but that's my thinking. I think John's got that wrong, or something's getting muddled up somewhere. Okay. So, yeah, because I mean that could, I mean, the way John was looking at it, I mean, why bother going at that one? There's a secondary arrow in there, just go in there. I mean, that's 2 movement, admittedly, moving that broken hex, where it's 1, 2 movement and go in there, so it's not any different. But there could be certain hexes where that could be different, and then you think, but it definitely says follow direction indicated by the primary movement arrow in each hex if possible. And it is possible for me to follow this primary there. And then that one's not, because that's a 6 Panzer Army, which we're not. So 1, and then I'd follow the secondary into here to keep me going. 2, then I'm back on primaries. 3, now I wouldn't go up that no, that's a 6, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, I wouldn't go that secondary. Well, there you go, there's a perfect example, because that hex is actually slightly closer to the 5th Panzer Army. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I've reached here with 4 movement. Now, automatically I'm going in there because it's the primary arrow, and that's 5 movement. But the way John Butterfield showed Martin in the example he linked, he moved into that hex. It was something similar to that, so that he was closer to his army objective. That was tiebreaker. But that's got to be wrong. That is actually a perfect example of that then. So you need to know, let me know, Martin, if I'm picking up what John said there wrong, or if you think he's got that wrong too. I mean, I don't like to say the designer's wrong with something, but so where was I again? I was here. So I think it's 1 primary, and then it has to go secondary, 2, 3, primary. So I'm leaving 2 detachments there. 1 there, 1 there. Now we're not finished yet, remember? Well, 2 things going to happen. Now, yeah, that was with normal movement this time, so I can relax and say, right, we've got this time. So we've got Verbamont, and we've got the fuel marker. So that fuel marker now goes on to the 21st. So they're not going to have fuel issues on the 21st either. Oh, goody. And then he can extend his move, or, well, actually, can he? He can't extend it into there because that's moving adjacent to an allied unit, but he could actually go up here. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a daft move, but unfortunately I think that he's going to do that. He's going to go 1 more into there to extend the move, and then he's not going to be able to go across that bridge because it's not German controlled. So it kind of feels... Oh, and here you go though, here you go. Once I've completed that movement, now, is there any issue? Because we've just took that town. No, it's not, it's surrounded. But that was the thing that was brought up. This was the every hex of German movement. Because if now that I'd made that move, see, I was able to get up there, and he was, well, I can't trace supply there anyway. But you know what I mean, if Allied supply could be traced to that town, I'd need to rewind, and I wouldn't be able to do the move at all. I think he's going to end up in that hex there, and then leave a detachment in Vermont. I mean, it does seem odd I'm moving up there, but well, that's how it goes. Yeah, think so. Okay, so hopefully all the movements are correct. Starting to doubt myself these days. Well, no that I didn't before, but so this isn't adjacent. This isn't adjacent. The only possible, and it could well happen. And I thought you were confident that they were going to stop advancing on me, Martin. This looks horrible, and they're getting close at the Meuse, challenging Dinan. Anyway, there's a good chance that, I mean, I do have 2 units in there, so I've got 5 strength. So this is where we're going to determine if there's going to be an attack. Wait, I move the camera a little bit actually. Yeah, it makes it easier for me to get around. So there's no reserves, it's combat engineers is in the support card box, so no assault crew, but they're all involved anyway. So we have a strength of 4, 8, 12, 15, and they've got 5. So 15 to 5 would be 3 to 1. It's just a woods hex that. So 15 to 5, I don't think it's going to jump up at all, is it? No. 15 to 5, so we've got 3 to 1 odds. 3 to 1 odds, so we've got off the roll dice. Modifiers, attackers include elite. They've got elites as well though, haven't they? In fact, they're both elite units. So that doesn't count. It's not an army or army group card. Support card shows applicable combat tactic. Well, it is. Combat engineers gives them 1 extra strength. 4, 8, 12, 15. Turns it into 16 to 5. I know it has no effect, but I remember, I think I asked this question before, you know, does it still do anything? Because this is a town as well. It's not as if we're removing IPs, or it's not as if you can play an IP. You know, you can't do that. So the combat engineers isn't really doing an awful lot, but it does add 1 strength. And if for some reason they were to like add strength to theirs, it might have an effect. So as applicable, so that's a -1 on the die roll. So we'll get the dice rolled here. So what did I say? 3 to 1 with a -1. Ooh, it's a big 10 though. So that's only 9. Although 3 to 1's big odds. Yeah, a 10 is cancel if less than 4 to 1, and a 9 is cancel if less than 3 to 1. So it's going to go ahead. So, okay. Let's do it now. We will be able to play a combat tactic this time, although not reinforced battle, unfortunately, because the unit's surrounded now. However, so this attack's going ahead, and they're going to draw a combat tactic. And I've got combat engineers to add as well, so let's see what they get here. Combat engineers. Right. Damn, that means the support card's going to stay now. It's not going to get used. However. Okay. So combat engineers increases their strength by 1, so 4, 8, 12, 15, 6, so it's 16 to 5. So like I said, it's not going to change. So let's work out the odds. 16 to 5, so it's 3 to 1. 3 to 1 odds. Oops, not 7 to 1 Grant. We don't want that. 3 to 1 odds. Chip pools are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 for elites, 5. 1 for the combat engineers is 6. And they're not going to play the support card combat engineers because it's an exact match for that one. So now we get to decide if we want to play a combat tactic, which we can. Let me have a look. Okay, it seems it took me overnight to decide which combat tactic to play. No, I never got back. I had to pause at that moment here. I never managed to get back last night. So back this morning, I've had a look just to make sure I know what I'm doing. So I'm going to play a combat tactic. Now, I'd quite like to have played artillery as well as this. I'm going to play screen. I mean, it's always nicer if you take it down from a large attack. So like if he was at 7 chip pools, he's only at 6. But I think taking it down to 4 is quite a good idea. I think that could be quite good protection. I mean, it's a gamble what chips you're pulling. Now, like I say, I would have quite liked to have played artillery. That's playing 2 cards. I mean, okay, this is an important town to keep victory points, and if they do manage to break through there, then they're closing on the Muse, closing in on Dinan. But it's my 18th core card that's artillery, and it's quite possible that could be one of the cards on my first impulse. Either that or maybe moving some of the 5 core units. But I only had 2 division cards for the 5 core unit. And the good thing about using this one is the 2nd and the 99th, they're both eliminated. The whole divisions are gone. So it's really a card just to be using for the combat tactic, really. Either that or activate any 1 unit, I suppose. Or deploy 1 5 core reserve unit, I suppose there's that as well. But there's none of them. So, okay, I'm going to play screen. So that's going to knock their chip pools down to 4. So 3 to 1 odds, 4. The other option was Tank Battalion, which would have took the odds down to 2 to 1 and gave me armour in the battle. I'm just going to take my chances with that one, I think. Again, you don't get an awful lot of cards, and I feel like I don't want to burn through all my cards. That one seems a sensible one to use, the fact that the card's not really useful for anything else. So let's go for that. So I'll get the 4 chip pools. Okay, there we go. That's an excellent result for us. First chip was the City Town chip, and then the next one, Defender Elite, which we are, and that is a priority. Well, they're both elite, I believe. There's no green unit. No, they're both elite. This was greater than 41 on the front, so less than 3 to 1 in the back, doesn't apply. And then we got a 2 to 1 chip with another A hit. So, and a D1, but we've got 2 D-1s already, and not even including the hit that we'd take out of the town. So, yeah, that's a really good result. Yeah, 2 hits to the Germans. No assault coordination to consider, so they're taking both the hits. We're getting nothing, we're staying put. So I think they're just going to pick the 2 highest. They're all 2-step units, so this is the highest. Oh, hang on though, they might not take 2 hits. Well, they have to take the first hit on this unit. He was the highest selector number, so let's just double check if they'll take the other one. I think they probably will. Yeah, so if there was just 1 step left, they would disperse, but they wouldn't. So they're going to roll a dice, and then if the die is less than or equal to the hold value of attack text, or less than or equal to the steps in attacking units. So the hold value is 5. So if we roll less than or equal to 5, or what are they? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so they've got a 7, so as long as they roll a 7 or less, they're going to take a step loss. If they happen to roll a 8, 9 or 10, they would disperse though, which could be quite interesting. Let's see. Okay, a 5. So they're going to take that as a 2nd step loss, which probably makes more sense to them. It is just a division that's activating them. Might have been quite nice to have just seen them disperse there, actually. That would have been good. But however. So, so they're going to take that on the next highest selector number, which is the lower unit there, number 6. Oh, that was good though. 2 units reduced. And there's maybe a temptation. It would have been better, I think, if it had been. Oh, sorry. I moved up to roll the dice there. Right, so that was the other guy that took the hit. It would have been nicer, I think, if these 2 units had taken a hit, because I've got a bit more of a force. Again, there's a bit more of a force down there, and I'm thinking I was thinking about bringing some of these across and maybe attacking. So it would have been nicer if they had got reduced, but that's how it is. Okay, so that's the 2 hits satisfied, and that's that combat done. Okay, so I think that's their impulse over. There's no eligible. They all had a movement or an attack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the other unit 6. There was 6 of them. So nothing can get removed to reserves. Today's the day where you would start placing IP markers on eligible active units. But they all made a movement, so none of them are eligible to take an IP. And that's it, remove disperse markers, there's none of them, so I'll tidy that up. But now the support card's still in the support card box, so we're going to get that as a second impulse. Okay, so this was a support card, so that becomes a second impulse. The special is on the 19th, so we're past that. So we're going to activate the 116 Panzer Division and the 560 VG. Now the 560 VG has 2 units, but it's separated by a 1-2 there because it's the other unit's still in the reserves. Actually, it comes out on the 20th, but we've not seen the army group card, so maybe quite good to have got this before the army group card. So it's still sitting on the calendar, that unit. So there's only 4 units to be looking at. 116, he's reduced. He's in La Roche, and the other one's just down outside Bastogne. And the 560th is... Where is he? Ah, yeah, is he on camera just there? No, he's not. Right, there he is there. So, none of them adjacent to roadblocks, so we've no reserves, we've no support card. The objective marker, actually, hang on, it might be that's proximate now. Yeah, this unit would be proximate 1, 2, 3, 4 to Dinant, which is kind of scary. I think it means I'm going to be playing my 8 Corps card. Whereas I thought it might be in the 18th Corps or the 5th Corps. I was going to do stuff like that. It could well be the 8th Corps. Because Dinant's vulnerable. That's 5 VPs, is it not? And it's adjacent to the Meuse, so I need some support in there. Okay, that's all we're looking at though, Grant. So we have hit the army objective marker and that's its 3rd placement. So let's see what happens to that now. Okay, I thought I was getting muddled up with something there, but when the 3rd, basically when you've used the tables for the 1st, 2nd and then the 3rd placement of it, you ignore the tables after that. So it says, instead the following occurs if an army's 3rd objective is reached. So you actually need to reach it. It's not about being proximate just now or within 2. It's going to stay where it is. But the instruction is, if a unit in the 5th Panzer Army or the 6th Panzer Army enters the 3rd hex occupied by the objective marker for its army, move the marker to hex 0139. The marker remains there even if German units subsequently enter hex 0139. So yeah, that's all that does. But I think we actually need to reach it. I can't see anything that says we move it to there now. It just says if it enters the 3rd hex, so we actually need to enter Dinant before it's going to move to that hex. That's how I'm reading that anyway. So I think that is right. Okay, yeah, so that's my reading of that. The marker stays there until a unit enters the hex. Which is still going to want to be going. That's the closest hex it's got towards the Meuse, and 5 victory points in Dinant. So yeah, we're going to have to do something about that. Okay, so that's not moving then, that's staying where it is. And then, so we're going to move these units. Like I say, there's only 1, 2, 3, there's 4 of them, so I'll see what I can see. Just a quick look at this guy here. I thought he might have been able to move closer to objective and next to VP Hex. I didn't notice it straight away, but there's a robot there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He could get down to St Hubert. It's actually, this hex is 1 hex closer to his army objective. So if that robot wasn't there, he would have done that. But however it is. So there's some good use of a robot made, maybe. Okay, on to movement method 7, so it's infantry move, so we've only got one of the units. Infantry move adjacent to an allied unit or town to which no non-bracket German infantry unit is adjacent. So this guy here, he moved, he retreated after combat, he's out of supply. I just noticed, we were talking about him going to Sinvath, and he's actually got Veal Sam here that's empty as well. He's got 2 victory point towns that he's sitting beside, and I started wondering there if there might have been something that the Germans would sort of be concerned about that. I mean, I know the concern within the rules is that if Allied supply is traceable to the towns. Nothing to do with an Allied unit maybe entering them, which maybe sounds a little odd, but I don't know. Maybe that's not an issue. Anyway, so this guy can reach him, so as long as he's not breaking any restrictions, he can go 1, 2. This guy's bracketed, so he's not exerting zone of control where he is just now. So I could go 1, 2, 3, or I could go that hex, or that hex even, I think. Okay, and then tiebreakers are nearest to army objective. So this hex is going to be the closest. And west of this hex, if they happen to be the same. No, I think this one will be closer actually, yeah it will. So 1, now can I go through any of these? No, because that means going into the forest there. 1, 2, 3, yeah, he can't go into any of the 2 forest hexes, so he's just going to have to go 1, 2, and then 3 into there. But it certainly stops that unit from being able to get into Val Sam this time, but he can still get into St Vith if he wanted to. What corps was he again? He's 18th, yeah, but it looks like I might, like I've just said, looks like I might well be wanting to activate the 8 core units to get Dinon covered. So, right, this guy moving from there, just need to look and double check there's no restrictions being broken. No, I don't see any issues with that. So, right, that's us on to movement methods 10 to 13 then. There's no other infantry units. So, I'll bring the camera around and we'll have a look. Okay, Unit 1 I believe is still stuck again. And of course I had a look at movement method 2, he could have actually got to St Hubert, adjacent to St Hubert, but he's keeping this guy surrounded, so he would be breaking that restriction. And I think all the movement methods 10 to 13 are going to do the same. It's not even as if he can go 1 hex closer, because this guy's then able to break surround. That would be the only hex, it would still keep it surrounded, but that's not 1 hex closer to his army objective, so can't move arrows, can't move closer to his army objective, can't infiltrate, and he's already adjacent to an allied unit, so he's done. Okay, so next guy is the guy in La Roche. He's in the same position. I thought he might have been able to move a hex, or possibly 2, but if you take him away from there, allied supply is traceable. Well, actually, it's just traceable from where it is, because it goes through the detachment, through the roadblock, and it's away from where it is. So the unit would have to stay. But the thing is, if he moves to there even, allied supply can still be traced by going 1, 2, 3, 4. So even that hex, and the situation where that hex might be okay, again, it's not close to his army objective, so he's exactly the same as to the guy just outside Bastogne, where he can't move at all, I don't think. Yeah, I think he's just stuck for now. Okay, so the last one is 23. Okay, he can't move arrows. His arrow would be 1 and then 2 back into here, and that would finish it. So therefore, blue cubes, light blue cubes are possible options for him. Now, moving with method 11, closer to army objective. Now, yes, he wants to try and move adjacent to an allied unit if he can get 3 to 1 odds. Well, he can't. he's not going to get 3-1 odds on this. This is 6 strength. So he doesn't necessarily need to end adjacent to him. So every one of the hexes is, that's going 1, 2. Well, that's with 7 away, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So is that 7. So it's between the 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Both of them are 6 away from his army objective. And like I say, it doesn't need to be adjacent to an allied unit because he's not getting the 3-1 advantage. So yeah. So between both these hexes, this one's slightly more west, as we've found quite a few times. So I think he's going to go in there. Yeah, there's not really any kind of fancy route he can go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, he can't go out and in. So I just see him going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 into there. Now let's just double check he's not leaving anything bad behind. Okay, that's an early morning moment. He clearly is, Grant. Are we forgetting all about Hon? Okay, let's forget that bit never happened, and we'll try and think that one again. Okay, yeah, it turns out even moving him here, which was the other one that was slightly closer than these two, supply can still be traced 1, 2, 3 and away, so that's not any good, but I think both of these are good. And he would pick, both of them are 1 hex closer, he would pick this one being slightly more west again, so let's just have a look at that to see if supply can be traced this town now. I don't think it can, because there's no gap through here, and you can't come in here or here. Yeah, okay, that's better. So that's some got 1 hex closer, he's adjacent to that unit. And was he able to do it in any kind of different way? I don't think so, no. Where was he? He was there, yeah, no, he can't pick up any more detachment markers. Okay, so I think that's good. And that's them all, isn't it? Yeah. So that's all the units moved in that division. Well, in the divisions. Where are we regarding attack checks? I don't think. Oh well, yeah. So the infantry might. Well, there would be an attack check here that would fail. The one in Bastogne. Right, hang on. Let me have a look. Yeah, Baston's still too strong. There's 11 strength in there. They would get a -1 to it for being an low supply, so it takes it down to 10. But we've only got 4. We can only count this 4. We can't count the units adjacent because no assault coordination. So that one's a no. So the only other one, but this one might go ahead. In fact, I think it's straight up 4 against 1. Yeah, it's in here. This infantry unit. Well, he's a 1, but he's even. Well, he would be getting a -1, but you can't go below 1. You've got to have a minimal situational strength of 1. So that's 4 against 1 though, so that's going to go ahead, this attack. Yeah, so let's get that organised. Okay, so attack in here. We don't have a support card, we don't have reserves yet. We're going to draw for a combat tactic. They get artillery. Let's put that way. Like to have my ways of doing things. So artillery, so no support card. We do not have the option to play combat tactics because we're out of supply. So let's check what the odds are. Yeah, straight up 4-1, isn't it? So 4-1 odds, and chip pools. There's gonna be not many chip pools. Mind you, we're out of supply. Look, is that the one that gives them another chip pool? I think it is, isn't it? Yeah. So mechanised may only move 1 hex. Unit may not build an IP. Unit may not attack. Out of supply. Only have defender that if defender the attacker may draw 1 extra combat chit and may disregard 1 attacker hit. So he's going to get to draw 1 extra for that. So it's only going to be 1 for the unit, 1 for the combat tactic, but 1 for that extra chip pool from the unit being out of supply. So it turns into 3 chip pools. We cannot play, like I said, any combat tactics, so let's get the 3 chip pools. Yeah, that's pretty bad for 3 chits. Nasty 4-1 there with a D2, and of course we are unsupplied, so it's D3, and well, the area 1's cancelling out, but they were getting to reduce 1 as well anyway, so D3, guy's in trouble. I think he's gone, isn't he? Yeah, he's gone, he's only 1 step, so retreat, and he's not in a town or anything, so he doesn't get soaking it up. Retreat, and then take the last one as a step also. Unfortunately, there's another one away. I suppose these are units that were kind of like looking like in all sorts of trouble, but so 2 more units in the eliminated units box. I'll chuck them in the cup and give them another victory point. Oh dear, that's 34 now. I don't like how this is going. So that was that. That's that. No hits to the Germans, like we said. So does he want to advance? Probably not. So that'd be other route, and it's not going towards his army objective. So no, he's gonna sit there. Okay, so that's that combat done, and I think that's us done with this second impulse. Well, there's a couple of units that didn't move, but they're sitting on their own, and the reason they didn't move is they would be breaking restrictions anyway, so they're not going to move, and there's no dispersed units. Oh wait, IP builds, no. It was out there. Oh no, yeah, this guy can, yeah. Hang on a sec. Yeah, so the guy outside Bastogne, he didn't move, didn't attack. He's not in a town, so you can build an IP. So there we go, and the other unit was in La Roche, so he can't. Is that the only one? Yeah, there was only 3, the other guy moved, yeah. Okay, well that's that impulse over, so I'll tidy things up there. Okay, so that's the first German impulse out there. Seem to take a bit of time. I think they all seem to take some time these days. I've just taken things much slower and yakking on too much, and I think if any have stuck with me, it's just how it's going to be, I'm afraid. Okay, so I'll probably cut this one now, and I think I'll upload that as the second part of the 20th. I think it's probably about an hour or so. So yeah, okay, I'll do that, and I'll be back with an Allied Impulse sometime soon, guys. Okay, cheers.